Boruboya and Borubosheshe from Baba Ilegwas Botanica. This is your host, Iwori Ogunda, Babalao of the religion of Ifa. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go over a couple things that somebody had a question about. And that was actually the question came up on the topic of Ire and Osogbo or Ibi. In traditional Ifa, it's called Ibi. In Lukumi, we call it Osogbo. And I just want to go over a few of the Ires and the Osogbo. And let me tell you a little bit about what Ire and Osogbo is. Some people some people prefer not to call it bad luck or good luck. Some people prefer to say on spiritual track with your destiny or off spiritual track with your destiny. What it really boils down to, Ire is blessings. Good, you're on track, you're on spiritual track. Doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have problems, but it means that you're not in osogbo. Oh, and there's different, this is what the topic's about today. There's different kinds of osogbo and different kinds of ire. So when you go to consult with the babalao, he's going to cast with the chain. This is the ekule, and it has 8 shells that we cast with, or he will divine with the ikin, but that's done for more important situations. So what he'll do is he'll throw the ekule, and he will decide if whether or not, if Orula says you're in ire, or if you've fallen under osogbo. And what osogbo it is, or what ire it is, because osogbo you have to turn around into ire. You have to fix that. So whether or not that's done with an ibo or an offering, you always start little. You ask maybe if it could be fixed with maybe a cleansing with some fish or some manteca de corojo and toasted corn. You always start little, then you go up. You don't jump straight up to 2 chickens or 2 goats. You start little, and then you see what it is that needs to, what we can do to turn this around. So today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the ires. Okay, first ire that I want to talk to you guys about is ire aiku. And that is pretty much talking about blessings in health and long life. So when the Babalao says, okay, you're in ire, but let's find out what ire it is. So if you were to come up that you're under ire aiku, that's long life and good health. There's also ire achegun. That's talking about being beneficial, being prosperous in your conquests and in your journeys through life. Ire asegun ota. That's talking about being triumphant over your enemies. Ire aya is being in good. You're in ire with your wife or your husband. You're having a good relationship. Ire didiwi an la okun is, this is talking about ire of the oceans, of the rivers, of fishermen. This is talking about being in blessings. You're safe. You're in good standards with Yemaya. You have licencia to travel. You don't have nothing to worry about. You won't die in a shipwreck, stuff like this. The other ire is ire oma. That's ire. You have blessings of your intelligence. You have a very sharp mind. Ire irinkin. That's being ire of traveling, of viaje, of having, you're blessed to travel. Ire egun, that's talking about being blessed with the egun. And then there's ire ileda, ire laye, ire siwaju, ire nesawo. And the last ones are kind of different ires that we won't really go into depth about, but they're long, that's why. But that's pretty much what it is. So we find out what's going on. The same thing with osogbos. Now, if the person were to come in and they were to be in osogbo, there's osogbo with death. There's osogbo with castigos, with punishments. There's osogbo with sickness, osogbo with death, osogbo with many things that we would figure out. Okay, now what's going on? What is this osogbo? And how do we combat it? And it's more than just, and not all the time people come in with osogbo, and that's something you got to be very careful with. The other day I had a lady come in. She was an elderly woman. She came in and she had been told that she was embrujado, that there was somebody doing black magic against her. I checked her. None of that was true. The only thing that I could think of was the person that she went to go get read by either didn't know what they were doing, or they wanted her to believe she was in osogbo so they could charge her more money, and that's better for them because they charge you more and you have to pay more. So not many people are truthful. Some people like to curb the readings. They don't tell you exactly what it is that's going on in the reading. And that's something you have to be very, very cautious with, because this is very serious stuff. This is your life. You're getting a basic outline of what's going on in your day-to-day activity from the universe. So it's something to take. It has to be taken serious. Okay, so that's osogbo and that is ire. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about was the understanding that Ifa isn't just something that you do on the weekends, or this is something that should be taken very seriously, and it is a way of life. It is not something that should be taken lightly and oh this and oh that. No, it's something, it's a way of living. Some people say, well, I've been practicing Ifa and I don't see no results, but yet they're still selling drugs or going out into the bars and fighting. And well, of course you're not going to see no results. Ifa is a way of life. That's what I tell people who come in. They say, okay, well, can I get this? Can you help me with this? I say, yeah, I can help you with this, but at the same time, you need to help yourself. This is a commitment that, Ifa is something very serious, and that's something that I want people to understand. It's not something that you just like with hoodoo. Hoodoo, anybody could be a hoodoo. I can go practice hoodoo right now, buy a book, and boom, I'm a hoodoo. No, Ifa is very much more complex and very much more serious. I mean, I don't want to say it, but I mean, I guess that's what it is. You got to get initiated. You get your mano de orula. You start learning how to throw obi, how to work with the cocos, how to work with elegua, how to work with your guerreros. Then, you get your santo. You receive santo. You learn that year of how to be a humble santero. You're learning the do's and the don'ts. And then eventually when you do cross into Ifa, this is a whole other ball game. This is constantly studying, remembering all the oduns, remembering the 16 major meji, remembering the herbs, remembering all the cantos, remembering the songs to the orisha, remembering how to make omierro, remembering how to build eshues, remembering the secrets that go inside the eshues, remembering how to do so many more things. A babalao is somebody very, very, very that has a lot of knowledge. So it is something to be taken serious, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It wasn't longer. If you guys have noticed, the videos have gotten a little bit more longer because I'm making them on the laptop now. So anyways, Ache Boru, Buruboyan, Burubo Sheshe to all my viewers on YouTube, and I hope you guys have a great day. Alafia.